What's happening, y'all? Just real quick, want to run a video by you. We're talking about the wiping off a ball, whether to wipe it off or not. And I want to be clear, don't have any idea whether you want to wipe your ball off or not in between shots. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just through my experiment and my experience of whether to do it or not. I'm just been giving you the information of what I see with my eye based on wiping it off and not wiping it off. But there seems to be some comments that are just not quite getting it or not understanding the context of what I'm saying. So I'm going to run through this one comment that is pretty long. It's like a 6-part comment. So bear with me here, but they're trying to, I don't know. I think they're on the side of wiping the ball off, which is fine. You can wipe the ball off if you want. It doesn't really matter to me. I was just explaining why my mind and my logic says it doesn't make sense for me to wipe my ball off. So here we go. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you so you can kind of read along with me. But he says, or they say, I don't know if it's he or she, but they say, having trouble making sense of this. You said, 1, don't wipe your ball. Well, I never said that. I'm not telling you not to wipe your ball. I'm telling you, do what you want. This is why I wasn't wiping my ball. Because it will have absorbed the oil anyway when you get up for the next shot. Huh? I don't understand why that's really that confusing because, yeah, by the time you get up, especially if you're in a 5-man league, like I bowl a 5-man league on Thursday nights. By the time I get up, there's very, very little oil left on the ball. So I don't know what's confusing about that. This is nonsensical. Again, I don't know why you say that. If it is absorbed, there is nothing to wipe anyway. Exactly. I don't. Okay, so we're on the same page. When we're talking about wiping, we mean right when the ball comes back. Exclamation point. Not when we get up for the next shot after 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. There will be little to no oil after that much time. Exactly. That's my whole point. I don't understand why you're confused by that, because that's the entire point behind it. So, I mean, whether you wipe your ball off or not, it doesn't really make a difference as far as, the reason behind wiping the ball off is to get the oil off, correct? So, not all of the oil is going to be off. My point behind it is when you get up 3 to 5 minutes later and a majority of the oil has dissipated into the ball, which, whether you want to believe it or not, that changes the surface of the ball. I mean, you have to think, they are porous bowling balls. They are porous materials. When that ball is absorbed, when that oil is absorbing into those pores are no longer as deep, which means the RA and RS values change. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's the depth of the grooves in the ball and the distance between those grooves. That changes because of the oil. It's the same thing as if you're polishing a ball. You're putting polish into those grooves, which is smoothing out and changing the values of that bowling ball. Oil does that too. Maybe not as quick as polish, but it does it. So I don't understand what you're arguing here. That's my point of why you don't wipe it off, because all that oil is sitting on there and it's getting into your ball anyway. So when you get up and you throw a shot and there is a little bit of oil left on the ball, you wipe that oil off. Say it's just the back couple of flares, you're changing the ball reaction. I don't care what you say, you're changing the ball reaction. So you're never going to get it back to that exact beginning. It's always going to change, and we'll get to some of the other points here in a second. So you said the surface changes after each shot because some oil is smeared all over the ball. That is not the reason grit increases. The grit increases because the ball is shined by the machines and the belts and the friction on the lane. I mean, it's a 15-pound bowling ball pressing down on a smooth surface. It's going to smooth those grooves out as well. So when you mix oil and the smoothness of that on top of the belts and the machines in the back, that's all changing it. So again, wiping the ball off, in my opinion, that's the nonsensical part. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. Where are we at here? By the machines in the belt, the oil, especially if wiped and smeared to a tiny layer will get absorbed in the ball very quickly and will not be a factor that affects grit. So if the ball was 2400, wiping it will not bring down to 2200 in your example. It will still be about 2400. Okay. So you're trying to be super literal and you're not understanding what I'm saying. My point behind it is, okay, your bowling ball, let's call it 800 out of box, right away, your first shot. You throw that ball. Oil gets on that ball. It goes down the lane it gets in the oil. It goes through the machine. It's being smeared from the belts and everything else, right? It comes back. It sits. The oil kind of absorbs a little bit. Half of the oil absorbs into the ball. Then you go and you wipe it off. That ball is no longer 800. I promise you it goes up. I mean, I'm going to have to get a surface scanner to test this, or maybe Ron will do it or something, but I promise you it goes up. You know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to at least go up a couple hundred points in value. And each shot, it's going to go up. And it's been proven that it changes shot after shot, even if you wipe it. So the point behind that whole theory was, if you go up and then you wipe it, so say you throw the ball, and it goes up from 800 to 1,000, just in that one shot. Just in theory, okay? I'm just using this as an example, not literal. So it goes from 800 to 1,000. You wipe it off, you bring it back to, let's say, 900, okay? Now, that first shot you threw was at 800. The second shot you're going to throw is at 900, which is going to be a little bit different. Will it be noticeable? Maybe, maybe not. But it's going to be different. And then you go and you throw it. Now it goes down the lane and does it all again. Now it goes up to 1,200, and then you wipe it off and say it only comes back to 1,100. Now you got 300 grit change and 2 shots. Again, the numbers are just theoretical. It's not a science. I don't know for sure, but it does change every time. If you don't wipe it off, at least you're continuing to get to a closer to, what the ball is going to be at the end. So I don't want to. You sit there and say it's only the belts and everything. No, it's a combination of it all because it's a porous material. I'm not understanding why you think the oil has nothing to do with it. Anyway, also, even if your example is true, which it isn't, okay, a 2400 and a 2200 ball will behave so similar that the difference, in quotes, you might see on the lane is going to be due to some other factor, mainly us not being robots and I don't disagree with that, not having small inconsistencies with RPM, speed, targets, rotation, etc. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You're not understanding the point, though. You wiping it off each time is not letting it get to its actual true surface. That's my point. I mean, you're going to be screwing up your ball reaction, in my opinion. You say we need to be careful with this information, but I don't remember saying that, but you make a video where yourself is not careful and without having a good understanding of what happens. You think Hicklin is wrong. I never said that either. If I said be careful with the information, meaning be careful on what you do with my information because you don't know what's going to happen. It's all theory. It's all testing. You said you prefer leaving the oil on the ball so it gets to its final surface quicker, and then be consistent. That's not how it works. You are confusing lane shine with oil absorption. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't understand where you're coming from. You're basically advocating making bowling balls die faster. Okay. Not wiping off the oil does not make the ball more consistent, as if get up to play after 3 to 5 minutes. Most or all of the oil is already absorbed into the ball. So the surface is, again, dry. Well, it's definitely not, again, dry. The only bowling balls that actually come back bone dry are those super high friction bowling balls. And those ones do die faster. Those ones don't last as long. Those ones get earlier and earlier because of the oil soak, and then they get smoother and smoother, and they don't hook as much down lane. Like, I don't understand what's so hard to understand about this. I don't get it. So the surface is, again, dry. The only thing you did is shorten the lifespan of the ball. The only thing I can agree with from this video is that if we want the ball to skid more in the heads and retain energy, then yes, better not wipe it. But again, only if your next shot is to be played before the oil is absorbed, or if it is a urethane ball. See, I guess okay, so the majority of that we're talking, I mean, I'm not really sure where this person's coming from. I'm not sure what their experience is with bowling, but you definitely, there's very few bowling balls that come back bone dry. And sitting there for 3 to 5 minutes, they're not going to be bone dry. And if they are, that just means that oil is soaking into those pores, which proves my point. That wiping the ball then doesn't make a difference, because the surface is going to change. You really think that the oil soaking into the pores of the bowling ball doesn't change the surface? It doesn't change how that ball is going to react from shot to shot? Then what's the point in even wiping the ball off in the first place? You want to say, okay, in the 10th frame, maybe you want to wipe the ball off after your first shot, so that way the second shot is similar to that first shot. If you want to say that, okay. But again, you're still changing it every time, whether you wipe it off or don't. So I don't agree with you. I don't know where you're coming from. You contradict yourself throughout the entire thing, which is whatever. I guess I just kind of wanted to address this because it's really confusing what you're trying to say, because you agree with me, but yet you disagree with me in different parts. So, I don't know. I guess so be it. For all of you watching, just, if you want to wipe your ball off, wipe your ball off. I really don't care. I'm just telling you that when I want my ball to be cleaner, and I don't want my ball reaction to change all the time, because I watch my ball reaction change, I think I would know. When I stopped wiping it off, all of a sudden my ball was much better through the front and more consistent down lane. When I was wiping it off, all of a sudden it would be like every other shot would hook earlier and earlier. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. You can just call me crazy. Go ahead. Call me crazy. That's fine. But majority of the people that commented on these videos, they agree with me and they notice the same thing. So it is what it is. But anyway, I just want to talk about these comments because I thought it was really strange. I thought it was a really way to address this whole thing. But oh well. But I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later.